Okay, guys, so today we are going to be reviewing the ranking the rap battles of Phase 3. So, yeah, it ended on Lincoln Loud versus Abraham Lincoln, and we're going to be starting Phase 4 either tomorrow or the day after. But to be fair, it's so, yeah. And so let's begin.
Starting from the worst.
15, Santa Claus versus the Easter Bunny. Probably the second most bombing rap battle in the views. And
wait, what's number one?
Well, that's Benito Mussolini versus Julius Caesar. But yeah, this one had Phase 0 writing. I'm not even gonna doubt that. Seriously. Yeah, most of the verses in that one were a bit rushed. The flow wasn't all that good, and yeah, it was the first. It bridges from mediocre to bad. Also, just note here, none of these rap battles in Phase 3 were bad. They just had,
except for that one.
Yeah, that one's the only one that goes from bad to mediocre. Cause
now we have Caillou versus Stewie.
Oh boy, the one with Polite Strawber in it in this season.
No offense to Polite Strawber, but
he at least got into this place. But the audio on this one was a bit better than the last one, Leatherface versus Jack Torrance. But the writing wasn't.
Sucked.
I wouldn't say it sucked, but the writing on this one, they rhymed listen with listen.
Alright, number 13.
Benito Mussolini versus Julius Caesar. I feel like I could have done better on this one if I got more time to. Also, we probably could have done a bit more takes since Tommy didn't even try to sound like Julius Caesar.
I don't know what he sounds like.
Well, he probably should have known that.
Number 12 is the one that I think Blocksy put a bit too low.
The Flying Dutchman versus Slimer. I disagree with Tommy. That one is just so forgettable. The only redeeming factor of that one was the impressions.
And the views.
The flow was decent on that one, but the rating was just all you ever do is eat a hot dog. Seriously.
Alright, number 11.
Larry the Lobster versus Alexander the Great. Probably the dumbest combination on there.
It's the jokey battle.
Also, I mean, we did not need to use Larry the Lobster, and there were a lot better combinations to use Alexander the Great. But hey, this at least had somewhat decent writing.
Number 10.
Plankton versus Gru. I mean, this one is just put down because all the other ones were better. The writing on this one was decent. The impressions were good. Heck, I would even argue the soundtrack was good. But
I would even argue that Polite Strawber's writing wasn't terrible, but we scrapped his writing.
Yeah, but yeah.
Number 9.
Sonic.exe versus Reverse Flash. This one
was fan suggested.
Yeah, it was. It had a good soundtrack, pretty good writing, and semi-decent impressions. And it did have a very rushed outro on it. And
number 8.
Patrick versus Richard.
One of the very few rap battles I wrote by myself in Phase 3.
Yeah. And, it was pretty good, but Patrick versus Richard, the writing felt generic with the sounds.
But the beat felt well, and the impressions were good.
But it wasn't as generic as Creeper versus Enderman. It just really wasn't as interesting as the other top 7. And in 7th place is Han Solo versus the Imposter. Arguably one of the catchiest rap battles in Phase 3. I mean, seriously. That opening was the best compared to Lincoln Loud. Also, Tommy Boy wrote it, so that was good. It had a very good flow. The flow is the shining part of this.
Number 6.
Dr. Doofenshmirtz versus Doctor Strange. The rating on this one was pretty good. not gonna lie, the flow on this one is pretty good. And it was the one that inspired us to do the album.
Yep.
Like, yeah, like...
It's pretty good. But now we're moving on to the rap battle that blew up, that we didn't expect that would blow up.
Ned Flanders versus Squidward Tentacles. This one was slightly better than Patrick versus Richard, but once again, it really signified our overuse of like SpongeBob characters, and we released like 3 with them in a row. The flow was decent, the impressions were good, which is pretty rare for SpongeBob ones, but like, yeah. And that's all I really have to say.
Number 4.
Tom Riddle versus Orochimaru.
I just love this one.
One of the top 4. This one had a very good flow and impressions, writing,
yeah, editing,
and even the soundtrack fit well. Like, yeah. But for number 3, Darth Vader versus Zurg.
I know
this one still stays at the top, even in Phase 3.
But we already talked about it in the Phase 2 ranking.
Yeah.
So if you want to know what we think of it, just go watch that video.
And number 2 is Sans versus Skeletor, which arguably had the best impressions in our rap battle series. Like, yeah, it also did indeed have very good writing, especially because I wrote it.
Yeah, Bloxy hasn't write a lot of rap battles with both fictional characters.
Yeah, but this one was very good. And
but you want to know it's better?
Lincoln Loud versus Abraham Lincoln. Arguably one of the best rap battles of Phase 3, and one of the best rap battles we ever made. I mean, like, seriously.
This writing, man.
Yeah, and the flow, too. Like, seriously. Flow, impressions, writing. I mean, like, it's all very good. Especially for a joke matchup. It's very weird, since, like, joke matchups have been, like, basically the best rap battles for, like, 2 phases. Phase 2 and Phase 3.
I know.
Yeah. So, like, that's all we really have to say about Lincoln Loud vs. Abraham Lincoln. Other than we released it right this day, so
yeah.
You should probably go and watch it.
But anyway, that's all for today.
Make sure to like and subscribe to support the channel, and
bye.
Peace out.